Cabrillo was really founded on a grassroots foundation, meaning that the farm workers took responsibility for their future, organized themselves, and with their spirit and their determination, they were able to take control of their community.
This was a golden opportunity to help create new housing for farm workers, not heard of, especially in Ventura County.
Before we live in, we rent one apartment with 2 families. So my boy, my little boy live, in the ground.
I didn't really learn about the importance of affordable housing or even Cabrillo Economic Development Corporation until I took a class in college about affordable housing, and one of the projects that was featured was where I grew up, and that's really how I became aware that this was really something special.
Well, in the early days, there was a lot of insecurity about what we do on the part of not only people in the community in general, but elected officials. We still suffer from a lot of bad stereotypes about our industry and the people we serve. We're breaking that down slowly. But in Ventura County, we went through a 10-15-year period where we had to earn our respect.
And I can remember, like I said, people there, they're known as the NIMBYs. Not in my backyard. It's like everybody says, oh, you should have a home, but not here. It'd be great if it was across town. There's always a reason why it's not good there. And there were a tremendous amount of people who really fought to keep the housing from happening.
We had a new council in the early 1990s that saw the need for housing, saw that not only could public housing or affordable housing and public housing as well could meet the needs of people who had a housing need, but that it could also help develop the community, that housing could be built and be attractive and be something different than what it looked like or what it had been like in the past.
One of my favorite stories is we were asked to develop a family rental project in Ojai, and it was our first effort there. And so we proposed a family rental project, and we went through the whole process. There was a fair amount of opposition, which is not unusual for a first effort. But the city council, the staff, the city attorney, they all treated us really fair. And so we went through the process, and they ultimately approved it, but there was one councilman who was consistently against it. And it turns out he owned property adjacent to the site. And I go out there one Sunday, so here's the councilman on his bike. He's riding his bike around the complex, and he stops me. And he goes, hey, Rodney, he says, this place has turned out pretty good. He said, I just want to let you know I was all wrong. And then he says, and by the way, my niece just qualified for one of your units.
If Cabrillo is known for anything, I think it's building communities. They just don't build buildings, they build communities. And I think that's what sets them apart, and that's what makes them great. They haven't forgotten where they came from, and they haven't discounted the value to the individual of the service they provide.
There is a misconception that affordable housing is a drain on the economy, but study upon study upon study says the opposite.
I think the major thing is the ability to have stable housing allowed me and my siblings to go to school and to go to college.
Some had their biases about what low-income housing was, and we were here to argue otherwise. But we had to put our foot in the door, open that door, and show them what was possible. It's going to be totally different from what they had seen in the past. And we have done that.
We needed a little coaxing, right, Rodney? We needed a little coaxing, but we departed from the normal way of approaching affordable housing. And we basically embraced the idea that if we were going to have a community that we could be proud of, if we were going to have a community that took care of all our families, if we were going to have a community that took care of all of our kids, we had to include the type of housing that we're here celebrating today.
I think that if you build goodwill, city by city, strengthening those relationships to move the mission ahead. I think that's a vital part of our success.
You see people that were living 2, sometimes 3 families in a 2-bedroom unit, if you will, and the opportunity comes up, they qualify, they move into an adequately sized home. They're the only ones that are going to occupy it, that their kids can now have their own bedroom, a quiet place to study, that their grades go up because of that, their health gets better on account of that.
This business is special because even though it takes forever for the development process to unfold, at the end of the day, something tangible, something that lasts a long time, something that's really impactful for people's lives is actually created.
One of the things that we really pride ourselves is in our ability to help families get into the right home responsibly. We've assisted a little bit over 8,000 families through the different services. Out of those 8,000 families that we know of, we've assisted directly with their lending services, over 600 families totaling about $150 million in total financing, including the down payment assistance. And we've only experienced 2 defaults.
Well, one of the things that I think is the most outstanding result of a nonprofit like Cabrillo, getting involved in providing housing, whether it's rental or ownership, is that it really builds the community. It gives the community another dimension, another segment that contributes to the welfare of the entire community.
Part of CEDC's mission is to do community building in the neighborhoods that we build, and one of those properties was Meta Street.
Where we're at is called Meta Street, and it's a very important part of the revitalization of downtown Oxnard.
They had knocked down a hotel where a lot of farm workers had lived, and all poor people had lived. And the redevelopment agency had knocked it down, condemned it, knocked it down, and so there was an obligation by the city to replace that housing over a period of time.
Meta Street was unique in that what the city council said is, we've got to revitalize this old core of our downtown, and in order to do it, we want to bring families back in.
Bueno, al principio cuando llegamos era un poquito de problemas por el área donde era, pero con la llegada de nosotros y la comunidad lo que hicimos de unirnos para poder retirar lo que era todo lo malo que había esta en área, y pues gracias a Dios lo conseguimos toda la comunidad de aquí de Meta para que esto fuera mucho mejor.
The concerns were a bar that was right across the street, and the prostitution that was attracting, and the drug use that was attracting. And so in 2006, we got some funding to help them create a neighborhood coalition to address those concerns, and they ran with it.
When I heard something about it before to came to this area, too many problems around, you know, and nobody say nothing, nobody doing nothing. So when we came, we all together with the neighborhood, you know, all of the business around here, and we working together to change everything.
Well, when I first opened here, I found out, you know, the situation of the area. It was little bit run down, so we had to like get together, meet a coalition, and myself, hoping to change things around, you know. So yeah, I think for my business it was very helpful to have them nearby. Little by little, things are changing to the positive way.
Okay, now it's very safe. So we're working together, and we work and we close the bar, we close everything, you know.
So Meta Street goes in there, and all of a sudden you see this formation of a community. And then you have the kids are all, it's like an extended family over there, you know, because everybody knows everybody's kids. You're watching out for everybody's kids. The kids are playing together. They're growing.
All my neighborhood, we are together. We're working together. So we look like one big family, you know. I remember when I see beautiful house like this, I say, maybe one day I can live in one place like this. And now I live in one place like this.
No, bueno, que los que estamos aquí cuando llegamos ha dado oportunidad a que mis hijos se hayan superado. Mi muchacho, el más grande, él estudió para chef, ya se recibió. Mi hija, la que sigue, está en el colegio, está estudiando y les ha dado la oportunidad de estudiar este lugar, les ha dado la oportunidad de que estudien.
And now, you know, we go outside, we go with the facing up, you know, because we feel good, because we like keep the clean, you know, the property. And I hear a lot of commentary good about this community. So we feel good to live here now. Now we feel, well, in my case, I feel like good citizenship, you know.
I think that every family, you know, and especially farm workers, always want the best for their children. You know, everything they do is for their children. They break their backs working really hard for their children. So I think that it's a dream come true for every parent.
If this was easy, a lot of people would be doing it. And if it was any harder, I don't think anyone would be doing it. It's a daunting task. You know that what you're doing at the end of the day counts, and at the end of the day is important, and at the end of the day is very satisfying.
Now we have a foundation from which to continue to develop housing that is needed in the community. Agencies and organizations, nonprofits like Cabrillo, can stand up to the challenge with help from the rest of the community.
They're not afraid to do the hard work because, you know, affordable housing, there's a lot of different levels. And Cabrillo has done an excellent job of producing housing for the hardest people to reach, whether it's, you know, the farm workers, special needs populations, and then up the chain of people that are making a little bit more money.
So I think that CEDC is well positioned to grow, and its business is going to continue to be reliant on innovation. So I'm very confident that the future is bright for CEDC.